Hey dolls, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another episode of Freaky Friday. I have missed you all so damn much. I know it's been about a month since I've uploaded. I apologize immensely. This past month has been a really difficult month. I think the whole quarantine and not being able to see my family has really taken a toll on me mentally. And then we are actually in the process of selling our house. It's just really taken a toll on me. My anxiety has been up to here. I'm working on it. I just couldn't get myself to film. I apologize, but I have missed you guys so much. But moving on, we have some exciting stories for you today. Thank you everyone who has submitted their stories. I absolutely enjoy just reading each and every one of them. If you do have a paranormal or extraterrestrial story to submit, please submit it to freakyfridays2019 at gmail.com. And if you're new here, please be sure to subscribe. So hit that subscribe button and that bell notification to be notified when I upload videos. So this is the look that I created today. The outfit is so affordable. My earrings are from Target. My top and my pants are from Marshalls. But yeah, on my casual days at work, this is like my favorite outfit. It just gives me summer vibes, being out by the beach. So I love it. And I hope you dolls enjoyed as well. So I am going to stop blabbing and let's get into these stories. Okay, dolls. So the first story is from Ashley. Hi, Ashley. I love your name. And it is titled The House. Hi Ashley, my name is Ashley. I love your videos, especially your Freaky Friday videos. Now, where do I start? Well, I grew up in the paranormal all the time. I do see shadow people a lot and have many paranormal things happen frequently. I'm originally from small town Dulce, New Mexico, on the Jicarilla, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, Jicarilla Apache Reservation, but I reside in Flagstaff, Arizona. I'll send more stories. Here we go. Story 1. I was around probably 6 or so. I used to live in a 2-story house. Creepy stuff always happens all the time. So I had lost my dog, Kia, the day before, and next morning around 6 a.m., I was sleeping and felt someone laying beside me. I could feel someone breathing on my hair. I was scared shitless because I know my parents are upstairs cooking. No one is downstairs. I was frozen, but I knew I had to move, so I got up, grabbed my remote to use a weapon, and no one is there. But the bed and pillow had looked like someone was laying beside me. Ooh. I got out of the room, got ready. My dog guarded me every night from whatever was in the house. Ooh, that is creepy. I recently went to the Madonna Inn in Slow. That hotel, you guys have to check it out. But I had a dream. It wasn't a paranormal experience, but it was a dream where I could feel myself laying in the bed at the Madonna Inn and Jay was to the left of me. And then all of a sudden, I feel someone to the right of me and I turn around and I see a body there laying. I couldn't see the face, but it was a male figure and I freaked out. I guess I was just trying to yell in my sleep and Jay woke me up, so that completely reminded me of that and is giving me goosebumps and freaking me out all over again. Second story. So I was in 8th grade, still living in the 2-story house. The street area is called Ghost Town due to it having been a graveyard, but got moved a block away. Anyways, I came home from school early due to electricity that went out in town around 2 p.m. During this time, we had a new dog. My mom and her went out of town, so I was home alone. So I just got home, started doing homework. I was sitting on a loveseat couch, and I heard someone walking in the kitchen, which my back is to. I ignored it due to things paranormal always happening, so it was a normal thing to me. Anyways, I come to find the couch vibrating and noticed I was really close to the ceiling, meaning I was floating. I touched the ceiling and just smiled to both the sides of the couch and was set down slowly. Then heard a bag of chips opening and cabinets opening and closing. I just yelled, "There is food, help yourself, haha." Then later the electricity came on and the TV turned on and I was waiting for my mom to come home. Hope you read these stories. I hope they are not very long. I have many more. Good to know I'm not the only one that is strange. Love you, girl. Okay, what the hell? Whatever paranormal activity it was lifted you, so you were basically levitating. I probably would have passed out, but the fact that you're just so used to it is crazy. Thank you so much, Ashley, for sharing your stories. This next story is from Alora. Hello, Ashley. First of all, I've got to say that I love your videos. I am so into vintage retro styles and I love spooky things, LOL. So you're definitely an inspiration and I don't hardly ever miss any of your videos. Oh, thank you so much, my love, for being such a dedicated subscriber. You are the reason why I keep going and I love you so much. I hope you don't ever stop doing this because I would be really sad if you did, but I'd still watch your videos either way. I have about 3 stories to share, and I believe I have more, if I remember all that has happened. Now, I believe I have always been a little sensitive to the paranormal. I have always had things happen to me that I could not explain, such as voices, noises, things being moved, always feeling like I'm never alone. Now, I've never really had any contact, nor really have ever tried contacting spirits. It's why I can also be a skeptic to stuff like this too, because I either need evidence or need to experience it myself in order to believe what actually happened, even though I do believe there's more to this world than we know it. The first story is of the house, so you can understand what went down this night. So when you walk in there, there's a living room. To the right of the front door is my brother's room. Going straight past the living room is the kitchen. Then to the right of the kitchen is a little hallway that leads to 3 rooms. Straight ahead is the bathroom. To the left is my bedroom. And to the right is my mother's room. I was never comfortable sleeping in my room myself, so I would sleep with my mother until I was obviously old enough to sleep in my own room. But there was this one night that I still can't explain. It was late at night. I can't remember exactly, maybe around midnight or later, when I woke up to the front door sounding like someone was trying to get in. I laid there for a minute thinking that this was my mind playing tricks on me until I heard the door actually open. I thought that maybe it was my mother stepping out for a smoke, but I realized that she was still asleep right next to me. It couldn't have been my brother because he has autism and his sleeping schedule was strict. He would never get up unless it was to use the bathroom, but let alone to go outside in the middle of the night. And we were still in elementary school at this time. I laid there frozen when I heard heavy footsteps that sounded like work boots going through the living room, then into the kitchen, and finally stopping in the middle of the small hallway. My mother's door was wide open, and you can see into the hallway, especially because outside the bathroom window there was a street light that would light up the hallway. I didn't see anybody. The next thing I heard were footsteps in the attic. Now, we didn't have a way to get up into the attic unless you had a chair and climbed your way into the attic. I heard the footsteps go all the way across the bedroom ceiling, then back to the hallway. That's when my mother shot up, evidently from listening to all this that happened, and yelled out, "Who's there?" Then we heard their footsteps go back through the kitchen into the living room, then out the front door. Now, what's really weird about all that has happened so far was that I remember I had locked the door before we all went to bed. It was one of those things I had to do, and I mean locked, deadbolted, and chained the door. So it didn't make sense that someone just walked in and out of the house like that unless my mother let them in. My mother got up and looked around the house and saw the door was still locked, chained and all. The next morning, I woke up to my mother and a friend looking into the attic, and if this whole experience still doesn't sound weird enough, the entire floor of the attic was covered in pink foam that you can see in most attics that don't have actual flooring. It doesn't make sense that we could have still heard footsteps with all of the foam, and it still sounded like heavy work boots were walking across a wooden floor in the attic. When my mother came down, we all noticed a black footprint that was on the attic door. It was never there before. Oh, that is crazy. At first I thought, okay, maybe, you hear stories about people living in the attic or things like that and people never realizing it, but that is creepy. This story is about my grandmother that passed away when I was really young. My great aunt has her ashes in her office with a stuffed monkey because my grandmother loved monkeys. But things started happening with said monkey. It was as if she wanted us to know that she was still with us and that she never meant to leave the way she did. She passed away from suffocating and trying to open her throat, and that's how she passed. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry to hear that, my love. And some of my family members had instances with the monkey. Let's start with my second cousin. He gets hot really easily and breaks out into a sweat, not feeling well from the heat. There was this one time that he went to my great aunt's to go and see her. He was walking into the living room and looked up the stairs to see the monkey turned a certain way, looking down the stairs at him behind the bars. He got cold chills down his back, and this was in the summer when my great aunt's AC wasn't working. He pretty much freaked out when he asked his mom what that was about, and she told him, I don't know. Then there was this one time that I was doing laundry, and when I went to open the lid, there was the same monkey sitting up looking towards me, sitting on top of the other pile of laundry, and there was what looked like no room for the monkey to sit up like that without being smushed. I went to go ask my brother and uncle who was there at the time, and they looked at me funny and asked why they would do that. And when I went to put back the monkey, where I put it on top of my grandmother's ashes, I got cold chills down my spine. And this was also during the summer. No, it's not electric, it's stuffed. Yes, she has 3 cats, but they wouldn't be able to grab the monkey where it was positioned at and be able to put it in those types of positions. And this can't be a joke because everyone in the family is way too impatient to be pulling these instances for so long. Oh, well, that was your grandma and letting you know that she's still there and she's watching over you. Now, this last story is honestly my favorite. Me and my cousin go to spend the weekend with my great aunt and brother. We have Saturday cleanings. So when we were cleaning, me and my cousin were in the living room. My brother was in the kitchen, which was next to the living room, and my great aunt was in her office, which was also next to the kitchen. We were quiet for a few minutes when I started hearing staticky 80s rock music. The space that is between the living room and kitchen, there is an old radio that was there since the 80s. That's connected to the wall. I asked my brother who loves rock music and if he turned on the radio, and he said no. I told everyone to be quiet and listen, and that's when we all noticed it came from the radio. We went towards it, noticing a few things. One, it was on a station where it should be playing recent best hits that should be clear, which was 102.1 where we live. And 2, my aunt noticed that it was the same music that my grandmother liked to listen to. Once we started talking about if it was my grandmother, it went off by itself. My brother and aunt looked shocked. My cousin got excited, and I booked it up the freaking stairs to get the hell out because I've always had my own experiences with no witnesses. So it was difficult to convince other people. Thank you for reading my stories. I hope they weren't too boring. Again, I have so many more stories that I just need to remember to tell. But I hope you enjoyed these. I love you so much and keep doing what you're doing. Have a wonderful day. Bye, dolls. Love, Alora Welch. Oh, that is so sweet. I swear I'm always telling my grandpa to haunt me because I want to see him. And if that were to happen to my grandma, I want them to haunt me all the time. I don't want to go a day without seeing them. So that is so sweet that she was letting all of you know that she is there, she is watching over you and making sure you all are okay. I just love that story. Thank you so much, Alora, for sharing your stories. And yes, please do submit more. This next story is from Carmen. Hey, beautiful, my name is Carmen and I'm from Fort Worth, Texas. I've followed you for a while now and I am loving this segment of creepy stories. I want to start off with a little background info. I grew up in a Christian house and spent a lot of time in church, as my aunt and uncle were both pastors. Growing up, we didn't really watch scary movies or pay attention to paranormal things. I am 30 years old and till this day I do not watch scary movies. My mom always said the more you pay attention to it, the more it will affect you, so we just avoided scary things altogether. That's what my grandma used to say all the time, but look at me. I am a horror fanatic. I love scary stories. I love reading about the paranormal, so We would even spend Halloween in church. What? Oh my gosh, Halloween is my freaking favorite holiday. So we just didn't engage in anything that had to do with spirits or anything of that nature. So I definitely don't know what to think when experiencing the things I did. Now for the story. When I was 15, I met a guy. I was obviously young and stupid in what I thought was love. It was a very toxic relationship. Later on, as we spent more time together, I started to notice little scary things about him. He drank heavily and would always talk about things like his great-grandma being a witch in Mexico and certain things he had encountered. Like I said, I've always kept away from things like that, so hearing these stories would just fascinate me. But like I said, he would only talk about these things after he had been drinking. Other than that, he was perfect. Fast forward 2 years later, and his drinking got worse, and he started to become abusive. This is where it all starts to get really, really ugly. There would be no whites in his eyes, and he would start to hiss and growl at me and call me horrible things. He would then pass out, wake up the next morning, and claim he didn't remember anything. Once I took him to meet my grandma out of town. He got drunk with my uncle and ended up passing out next to me. I, for whatever reason, woke up in the middle of the night and see that he is just leaning over me, staring at me with those solid black eyes. I instantly panic and try to get up, but I can't. I'm frozen. Next, he just lets out this deep, pure, evil laugh. I'm finally able to get out of the bed and he follows me to the kitchen. I don't even hear him behind me when I turn around and I am pushed against the wall. And he puts his hands around my neck and starts to squeeze. He's even speaking in another language. I look around trying to grab something when I come across a crucifix hanging on the wall. My grandma is a very dedicated Catholic who has them all around her house. I don't even know how he knows that's what I was staring at, and he screamed, "You think your God can help you? Your God can't help you. I am stronger than him." I closed my eyes and started to half-ass pray, and he let go. He went to bed, and that was it. We never talked about it, like he never knew it happened. Weird thing is, nobody ever mentioned it, like as if I was just dreaming it. I did not dream it. Why not leave him, you might ask? Every time I tried, or even every time we argued, I felt this bad energy around me, almost if someone was sitting on top of my body. I eventually left him, and you would hope that I didn't have any contact with him after that. Unfortunately, we had a daughter together, but luckily he hasn't been in her life since I left, but I know we will cross paths soon. I still to this day believe he was possessed by something of pure evil. I have a couple of more stories about him if you are interested. I'm sorry this was so long. Love you. First of all, I love you. Second of all, yes, share more stories. And third, I'm so sorry you had to go through such a toxic, abusive relationship. Being in a toxic, abusive relationship is already traumatizing, but then possession and an evil spirit, that's just way too much. So I'm so happy to hear that you are doing great, that you and your daughter have not had any contact with him. Thank you so much, my love, for sharing your story. This next story is from Faye, and it is titled Childhood Haunted House. Hi, Ashley. I discovered your main channel last year. I was instantly addicted, and then I found out about your Freaky Friday channel. I was super excited. My 10-month-old son is so in love with you. I share pictures of him watching your channel on Instagram. Oh, so cute. This is going to be a longish story, so I apologize in advance. Never apologize. We love those. When I was 9 years old, me and my family moved into our new house. Pretty much from the get-go, strange things started happening. We would hear someone running up and down the hallway for hours at a time. We would go up there, and there would be no one there, not even the cats we had at the time. The older myself and my sister got, hitting our teenage years, stuff really vamped up the activities. I've read that teenagers are sensitive to paranormal activity. We would hear the running worse than ever. Cupboards would open and shut, and stuff would go missing. Eventually one night, I was woken up by my cat. He stopped purring and looked straight at my bedroom wall. I turned to see what he was looking at, and I saw the spirit of a woman float out of the wall. She sailed peacefully across my room and into my parents'. Even though she was peaceful and my cats were fine around her, I was really freaked out. I would be too. A few months later, I saw her again, so my sister changed bedrooms with me. She never saw the spirit, but would wake up in the night feeling like someone was standing over her. My mom saw orbs of light flying around in the room and a tall shadow figure in the hallway. My dad never said he saw anything, but he heard things. She became a part of the house, and none of us felt threatened by her. I named her Agnes. A few years ago, my parents decided to sell the house because they wanted a small house. They had trouble selling the house. One man viewed it, walked in, and went, "I can't be in here," and ran out. The estate agents were really freaked out. Eventually, they sold the house, and my mom said she felt like the ghost was waiting for the right family since she loved us so much. I always wonder if the new owners of the house have heard bangings or seen anything. The owners had 2 young children, so I think the ghost might be a kind, caring spirit and loves families. Sorry if this was too long, and if it gets read out loud, could you please blow a kiss to my son, Bjorn? Oh, baby! I love you. You are such a cutie. Mwah. Thank you so much, Faye, for sharing your story. I'm glad that the spirit that was haunting you guys was a kind and loving spirit. I love those stories because I tend to do my Freaky Fridays at night and they freak me out when I am alone. I am alone in my house right now. Just my cat is here. So those are just always so heartwarming. And I do hope that she is now watching over that new family and taking care of those little kiddos. But thank you, my love. And thank you to your son, that little cutie. I wish I could see him and just give him a smooch. I love you both so much. This next story is from Erica, and it is titled Old German Lady in the Night. Hello, babe. First off, I absolutely love your Freaky Fridays, and I love your pinup videos. You bring out my inner pinup girl, and my husband loves it. I used to dress like a rockabetty in high school. Oh, I love you, doll. My name is Erica, and I used to live in San Jose, California. I'm currently living in Colorado. So my husband is in the military, and we had the pleasure to live in Germany for about 3 years, in Bavarian. When we moved out there, I was about 6 to 7 months pregnant with my first child. When we moved into our home that was 5 minutes away from the main post, we were so excited to sleep in a house and not a hotel anymore. The house we lived in was about 4 levels with spiral stairs. When you walk in was the living room, kitchen, and dining room. Then the basement that had a laundry room and 2 extra rooms. The 3rd level, 2 bedrooms and a bathroom. The top floor was the master bedroom and a scary crawl space. So that night, my husband got our bed set up on the 3rd level. Since I was so pregnant, we stayed there. That night, I was half asleep and half awake. I happened to look at the end of the bed, out the door, and I saw this figure of an old lady. When trying to look again, she came running towards me, yelling at me in German. I honestly wasn't freaked out. I just remembered that I turned and pulled the blankets over my head. The next morning, I still had the blanket over my head, and I never sleep like that. Even my husband was surprised. I never told him about it till later in September. My friends and I were heading to Munich for Oktoberfest, and my husband was on a no drinking leaving order, so he stayed behind and watched our friend's dog. When we got back the next day, my husband was telling me that their dog was going up and down the stairs, and when she came down, she'd look back at the stairs and start to bark. My husband got up and calmed her down and had her sit by his side. Then before bed, she went to the basement and started to growl. My husband went down to the basement and told her, "There's nothing down there." So they went to bed, and the next morning, she was fine. A couple months later, I had my son, but this time, he was a month or 2 old. When I sat in the living room while holding him, he kept looking towards the spiral stairs. I'm trying to figure out what over there that he can see. I just brush it off and go about our day. When I walk by the stairs with him, he'll end up looking up the stairs like someone got his attention. When I told my husband about it, he told me he noticed that with him too. Always looking over at the stairs, and if you're near it, always looking up. So we just thought it was a baby thing. He was our first, and we're learning. While months pass and he gets older, tons of toys in his room and lots of naps. Well, when I used to check on him, his baby cam, he'll sit up and look at a corner like someone was talking to him, and he'll start giggling. He did this a lot. I was starting to think it had to be the old German lady. That night when I saw her, I wasn't scared, and I felt like she was just lonely and probably thinking of another couple in my house. But that master bedroom and crawl space was where I felt uneasy, and I hardly went up there. There is probably another spirit there that I don't want to know. I tried to look up the history of the military housing we lived in, and nothing popped up, but just an abandoned village that was stuck between Hitler military installation that was a training area in 1938, so it could be the lost lives that may have lived there. But I have talked to some of my neighbors that had something going on in their house that was paranormal-like. Hopefully someone can help the old lady in our old house and move her to the other side. Sorry for this being so long. I need to get this one out since this is my first paranormal as a family. I have some more to tell some other time. Thanks to all. Okay, well that turned into something that I didn't think was going to, because when you said that she was running at you and yelling something in German, I thought, oh my gosh, that's a freaking demon. But it seems like she's getting along with your son, and if you're not having an uneasy feeling about her, then she most likely isn't a bad spirit, but I am not a professional, so who knows? But it's creepy that, you watching your son and seeing him look at something and interacting with something. I would freak out. Thank you so much for your story, my love. And yes, please, please share some more stories. And now the last story for today's Freaky Friday videos. This story is from Anonymous. Hello, Ashley. First off, I love your channel. I usually listen to Freaky Friday at night on my way home from work, and oh my gosh, they scare me. And I love it. Haha, thank you so much for continuing this channel. Oh, that warms my heart. Thank you. Okay, my experience was super quick, but I would also like to know if anyone else out there has had or has seen something similar. It was a few years ago. My best friend, myself, and our kids took a road trip. We were headed out to Albuquerque for a few days. We were so excited to get out there. It was a long drive, about an 8-hour drive. So we left crazy early. So early that by 3:30 a.m. we were just about 45 minutes outside of Albuquerque, way ahead of schedule. We had to stop and get gas and switch drivers. We just happened to see a conveniently placed convenience store. It was right off I-40 and easy to get right back on. I remember when I got out of the car to get gas, it was freezing. I was hit in the face with this cold blast of air that woke me up. I grabbed my coat, got gas, got in the driver's seat. My friend had her coffee, we got situated, checked on our sleeping babies in the back seat, and I headed towards the highway. I remember it was 3:40 a.m. Not too many cars on either side of the road. A few semis, but no traffic really. I was on the on-ramp. To my right were some orange streetlights leading the way to the highway. I looked to my left for oncoming traffic. Of course, there was none. I looked forward and I counted 5 orange streetlights. As we passed the 3rd streetlight, the 5th light flew off. Yes, flew. I looked and there was no 5th light pole either, but I knew there had been an orange light. It flew off and left a little light trail, like when you wave a flashlight or something. I was shook. I started to worry something was out there, so as soon as I saw it fly off, I started looking up in the sky towards the area where it flew and looked above us. I didn't want to scare my friends, so I tried not to make it obvious I saw something and that I was looking at something in the sky. I didn't see anything. There was an awkward silence as soon as I saw the light. I debated telling my friend what I saw. Then, after about 30 seconds or a minute, she said, "Did we just see the same thing?" I was so relieved that she had seen it too. She started looking out her window, but she couldn't see anything in the sky on her side either. So anyway, after we calmed down a little, she told me a quick story about the first time she saw strange lights. She was about 7, staying at her grandparents' house. She said she woke up to bright lights in her room. She thought someone was coming to visit. Her grandma came in and told them not to look out the window and to go back to sleep. Being a curious, naughty little girl, she got up and went to see what her grandparents were doing. She said they were looking out their window and there was a UFO in the woods near their house. She said it had bright lights and was hovering over the ground. She said her grandparents were super calm just watching it. She thought maybe this happened often on their property. Anyway, back to our trip. We weren't able to explain it. We didn't think it was anything bad because we ended up having a really good trip. I would love to hear other people's stories and if they ever seen something similar, because now when I see those orange streetlights, I'm always wondering if it's really a streetlight. Thank you so much for sharing my story. Okay, so one of the things that terrifies me the most is having a UFO encounter. I think I've watched too many UFO movies. I am a believer in aliens. I do believe they exist. I do believe they are out there. That's creepy. I'm glad that nothing actually happened. Nobody got abducted. There wasn't any memory loss, because you always hear there's memory loss. Thank you so much, doll, for sharing your story. So those are our Freaky Friday stories for today, my loves. I hope you all enjoyed them. Comment down below. Let me know which one is your favorite story. But here is the final look for you, my loves. I really hope you enjoyed the makeup and the hair. But now we are going to move on to the outfit and hopefully unspook you guys a bit. So So this concludes today's Freaky Friday episode. If you have any stories to submit, please submit them to freakyfridays2019@gmail.com. I love you dolls so much, and I will see you soon. Bye, loves.